Greetings, brethren, Hausburger Donkey here, and there's sadly no big updates on the herniated disc front. I can tell you one thing, make sure that you keep your back muscles in shape, because this is the worst. I've had, some other annoying stuff like kidney stones, but this beats it, because it's all I do all day at the moment is gentle walks, gentle exercise, and lying around, and it's just the worst. I'm so bored. And since I've been incredibly bored and basically unable to paint anything, I mean, you can see these, I started these probably 3 weeks ago at this point or more, and I have barely done anything on them. We're only a few days when I sort of felt like I could, and then I regretted it the next day, and then at some point I just stopped trying. So I haven't painted anything in at least 1.5 weeks at this point. And I got so sick of not doing any hobby that I decided I was going to try just assembling some miniatures in bed. Roman style. So, and it worked, as you can see, because all of these, and there's more over there, I built lying around in bed watching old hockey games from the last not finished season. Anyway, let's go through this stuff. So what I did is I took a box of Halflings from Wargame Atlantic, which I'll get to in a minute. I have some words about them. So let's take these aside. Let's just put them there. And I turned 10 of them into these archers. The Wargame Atlantic sprue for the Halflings it wasn't great for the thing that I wanted to do, because it comes with... There's always 5 Halflings on each sprue, and each sprue has enough parts to make 2 archers, 2 slingers, 2 pikemen, or 2 halberdiers. There's also 1 sword, but it's a tiny little dagger sword, and there's also 1 teeny tiny buckler, and that's it. So for purposes of Oathmark, that wasn't great, because obviously in Oathmark you want to make spearmen with shields and soldiers with shields and archers, and I mean archers were fine. As you can see, I gave them these little Robin Hood style peaked caps, which I think look pretty great. And well, the archers weren't a problem, right? 10 archers, no problem. There's plenty of parts for that in the box. But then what to do with the other 30? I didn't want to just make 40 archers. That I didn't. Yeah, and obviously there wouldn't have been enough bows anyway. So I also made, as you can see, 10 slingers. And in Oathmark, I'm going to play the Halflings as goblins. So these are going to be goblin archers, and these are going to be goblin slave slingers. And as you can see, I once again ran out of the square Renedra bases, because obviously, ordered some already, but it'll be a while until they're here, I think. So yeah, I made 10 of these. And they're okay. I mostly took the heads from the sprue that had bare heads with like a bandage or a headband, because I felt that made them look the most like sort of levy slingers, I suppose. I wouldn't say that they're halfling slaves. They're probably just levy. Some of them have these really simple pot helmets. Oh yeah, and then what also, right, for the archers, the leader, I gave him one of these pot helmets. And the head options on the Halfling sprue are very weird, because you get, on each sprue, you get 5 of these pot helmets, right? So I have 39 of these heads unused, but they're kind of halfling shaped, so they look a bit weird on humans. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all those heads, but there you go. So you can make them look a bit more medieval. Each sprue also has a big Knight Templar style pot helmet, which looks a bit ridiculous on a halfling in my opinion, but okay. And it wasn't really conducive with the Dark Age style that I was going for. So what I ended up using for the spearman in terms of heads is the other style of helmet that comes on there, which is sort of a late Roman style helmet, I would say. That's what I would call this. Yeah, and you only get 3 of them on each sprue. So it's a really weird box. And then you also get 2 Imperial Roman style helmets. And the Commander helmet that I'm guessing is supposed to be, for these and for the Imperial Roman helmets is like it almost looks like a Samnite style helmet, So it's a relatively simple Bronze Age helmet with a crest of feathers on top, and it has a nasal guard. So it's not anything style-wise really. It's a mishmash, and it just is so strange that they give you all of these head options, but the weapons options are so lacking. Because honestly, I think the pikes are gonna be very, very hard to make work because they're so flimsy. Anyway, so what I ended up doing with the spearmen is I chopped them up. The left arms here, as you can see there, that was the arms holding the pikes in like a carrying sense, right? And I just slotted a shield on top of that, so you won't really see that from the front, and who gives a shit that you can see it a bit from the back. And the spears are a bunch of leftover Goblin Spears from Oathmark that I had, because Oathmark, as you hopefully know at this point, each box has 30 miniatures, and you get 30 options for spears, 30 swords and other one-handed weapons, and 30 bows. So each time you make a bowman, you have a spearman left over, basically. And so they all got Goblin Spears, which I think size-wise fit pretty well. They're a bit, scuffed on the blades, but that's fine. They're just halfling levy spearmen. Ooh. And I made 20 of these, which was a bit annoying because I had to chop the spears off at the wrist. So the hands on these are actually the goblin hands. And then I chopped various arms on the halfling sprue off at the wrist and then glued them together. And the shields are from another Wargame Atlantic kit, which is the Dark Age Irish. And I guess that's what I wanted to kind of talk about, because the reason, the Dark Age Irish set is so much better than the Halfling set. It's worlds apart. Like for this leader, they give you these roosters as standard toppers, and I put one on his on one of the there you can see that's the sort of Imperial Roman style helmet, and I smacked the rooster on top, gave him one of the cool embossed Dark Age Irish shields, and the sword I'm pretty sure is from Perry. I want to say European mercenaries for the sort of late medieval Renaissance range. I also made a musician. Just gave him a horn and gave him a shield that has some javelins from the Dark Age Irish set to make him still look kind of like a spearman. And then we also have a bannerman who also got this banner staff is also from the Goblin set. Again, I chopped it off at the wrist, and then I put the little rooster on top. So yeah, I think this unit came out great. Would I buy any more halflings? Probably not, because this was a lot of work chopping and getting them right. And I don't actually like the helmets very much that I had to use, but the other ones, I just didn't want to go with the pot helmets. I just don't think they work with the aesthetic that I want to go for with Oathmark, because they're not very Dark Agey. They're very, very medieval. So, yeah. But anyway, I have a 20 block spear halflings and a bunch of archers, bunch of slingers. So they will be part of one of my future goody armies. And then I also assembled 14 Mantic Orcs, which are going to be for a very, very speed-painty upcoming Kings of War project. I need a proper Kings of War army because it's not my favorite game, but every now and then I get a lot of people wanting to play it, and why not? It's an okay game, and I kind of just want to have a decent army for it. So I'm gonna make a quick Abyssal Dwarves army at some point, and that'll be entirely speed painted. So I'll just crush through that really quickly. Then I have these dogs. They are also part of the Dark Age Irish set. And yeah, back to the reason why I think that set is actually amazing. It's because you get an absolutely crazy amount of bits. It's ridiculous in comparison to the Halflings, where honestly I kind of felt they were a bit stingy with the bits. Like, there's a lot of heads in there, but there's nothing else really. You know, all the weapons. There's not a lot of options, and you know, the arms, there's basically no arm options in the set at all. I had to really struggle for you know, figuring out how to do shield arms and stuff like that. So yeah, I was very not impressed with the Halflings. But as soon as I cracked the humans box, because you know I took all these shields from that set, I was so impressed. I was so impressed with that set. First of all, it comes with 10 of these dogs. They only come in 2 poses, and you can only assemble them in 2 poses. So you can't mix them. Can't make different variations. It's only the 2, but that's okay. I still think in a small unit like I'm gonna use here for the Elf Huntmaster unit for Oathmark, I think they're great. Just missing the elf that's gonna be the officer of the unit. That's just some small fast flanking unit. And then I also made up a bunch of these of these Irish from Wargame Atlantic, and they're going to be human militia for my proper human army that I'm going to be doing. And I think they work pretty excellent in conjunction with the regular Oathmark humans. The Oathmark humans, of course, have a lot more armor, but you know, these are just supposed to be like militia levy types. So I think it's fine that some of them are bare-chested. They don't have any shoes. They just look very, yeah, very wild. And I think these miniatures are actually fantastic. I think because you know, Wargame Atlantic miniatures are made in China, unlike most other miniatures from English manufacturers. And for a China miniature, I think this is great quality. I mean, look at this. The detail is actually really nice. The muscle definition is pretty decent. The faces are solid. There's really not much you can complain about with these figures. They're just all around pretty nice, and they're gonna paint up really easily as well. They have nice, big, sort of chunky areas. It's really great. I'm very impressed with these. And I'm even more impressed with just the general kit that they come in. Here I made a leader for the militia. There's a helmet and a cloak. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the sprue for this because, as I said, it comes with these bucklers, and it comes with a load of them. Each sprue has has 6 warriors and 2 dogs, and each sprue also has one of these shields, then 4 other ones with a small boss like this. Then there are 6 with a big boss like this. And then there are also 6 large round shields that I didn't use any of yet. They are very much sort of Viking age shields. Then there's one of these oval shields that are also nicely sort of rounded. And then the one that I used on this one, there's one of these on each sprue as well. So the absolute amount of extra shields you get in this set. And on top of that, you can make every one of them with a javelin or with a hand weapon. So this set is almost closer to an Oathmark set, which is so confusing because the Halfling set was so vastly limited in options. So I was very impressed with this Oathmark, Oathmark. I keep saying Oathmark, with these Dark Age Irish. And I think they are really excellent. I might have to get more of these. And the really cool thing about them is I think you can use them for all sorts of stuff. Obviously, they can be Irish for all of the Dark Age era, but they can also be levy for your sort of early, for your sort of what are they called? Like medieval, like 12th century, whatever, right? Or your crusades. It can be like a peasant army with slight modifications, you know, stuff like that. And you can and for fantasy, obviously, you can use them for Oathmark as militia. You can use them as sort of a peasant rabble. There's still one thing I want to try, where I want to get the folk rabble from Fireforge games. I want to see how they mix with these. See if they can make like a peasant revolt type thing. And I think they'll also work really well as brigands. Just, you know, if you're like a D&D player and you're looking for some brigands and highwaymen, I think these are going to be excellent as well. Alright guys, my back's starting to hurt, so I'm going to have to stop this video. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what I have been building in bed. Roman style. Alright, thanks very much for watching. See you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.